Alright, today we're going to go over the Pierce rear trunk brace for the Fiesta ST. Alright, so this is the Pierce rear trunk brace. It bolts to where your seat brackets are. It's a super easy install. I believe pretty much anybody can do this. All you're going to need is an 8mm socket, and I used a T50 Torx bit. And I'll show you what I mean by the bit. It goes, that's one of the seat brackets, but you'll have one there, you'll have one there. You just remove those two bolts, you put your brace in, and you start tightening those down. I would recommend tightening them by hand at first so you don't cross thread. Once you get them seated, just tighten them down. Now, if you want to know the torque spec, now Pierce didn't provide a torque spec. This was from a different member on the forum who installed a different rear trunk brace, because there is a handful of different rear trunk braces you can get for this car, and the torque spec was 35 foot-pounds. I have a torque wrench, so I went ahead and I tightened them down to 35 foot-pounds. This was the very first brace I put on this car. I have one other brace, the midship brace, that gives you more exhaust clearance. I already made a video about that one. This was the first brace I installed, and it's not necessarily a huge performance brace. That's not what it's advertised for, but what it does, it helps stiffen up the rear of the car. It helps the flex in this big open box area. And what I noticed was, what some other people had mentioned, was it seemed like there was less vibrations in the rear. Not like vibrations you feel like less rattling, less things like moving around. It just felt more planted, more rigid, just overall stiffer. I noticed there's a particular corner I go on. I can go it very fast, and I kind of kick the rear end out. I noticed once I installed this brace, it was more controlled. I also noticed less noises in the rear end as well. So overall, I'd recommend it. It's really affordable. The retail price is $89, but I got this on sale during like their Black Friday, Christmas stuff, and it was 20% off that price. So really reasonable product. Pierce makes good quality stuff. It's made out of polychrome. It's a strong, rigid material. It's better than like an aluminum brace or just something made out of some steel someone bent. It's powder coated. It's got a great finish on it. Overall, good product. And I will go over some install tips. Like I said, you just need an 8mm socket, and I use a T50 Torx bit. But let me show you what you need to remove. So you have these. This is what allows your load floor to be in the higher position, and that's where your 8mm bolt is. So you remove those, and it's just a matter of taking those two bolts out, and boom, you're done, and you install it. Now, if you're someone who keeps your load floor on the bottom, so you have that deeper height, but then you don't have anything underneath, you're good. You don't need to reinstall those. Actually, you can reinstall those if you keep your floor on the bottom, because there's not going to be enough room for that floor between that brace and this. Now, if you're someone who keeps their load floor in the upper position, which I do, because I like to keep stuff under here, like jumper cables and whatnot. So I like to have that space. But what you need to do, and this is kind of rough, but basically you're going to have to trim it. You can use like little snippers, you can use a Dremel, whatever. And you just got to cut a little bit out, because it has to sit over top of this bar now. But it's really easy. Like literally, I had this installed in my car when my wife was taking a shower. Like it's that easy. I want to put those back in, so you can see what I mean. You won't even notice that little jagged cut I made. That's why I didn't mess smoothing it out, because once you have it sitting over top of that bar, it's completely hidden. Let me put that back in, and I'll show you what it looks like. Alright, I got those back installed. Like I said, you don't see that little jagged cut. Now your load floor can be in the upper height position. But like I said, this is a mod. It's affordable. Anybody can really do this. If you're uncomfortable working on your own car or whatever, I think really anybody could do this, even if you're uncomfortable working on your own stuff. I mean, this is easier than an oil change. The only thing you need to be worried about is, please hand tighten the bolts in first before you go cranking things down, so you don't cross or anything. Everything goes in smoothly. Go ahead and tighten it down. These were actually so loose from the factory, you could actually turn the bolt with your fingers. I just tighten out with a small ratchet, so don't go cranking down on these little pieces like your He-Man. But other than that, easy mod. I'd recommend it. It made the car feel a little better. It's cheap, easy to do. It looks nice. Good quality product. Highly recommend it. Anyway, y'all have a good day. Hopefully, it's a short little video, helps somebody give a visual of the piece, see how it bolts into the car, realize you don't lose anything, and hopefully help somebody. Y'all have a good day. To the next one.